I'm really happy to meet all of you today at the start of a 2022 Spring Phenology Campaign. This webinar is organized as an opening meeting for the campaign with the aim to tell you all that will be helpful for you to do the campaign activities and to enjoy the time in the campaign. First, I want to introduce the Globe Europe and Eurasia Regional Coordination Office team who is organizing the campaign. It's my colleague Dana Votápková.
Yeah, hello everyone, nice to see you, nice to meet you.
Bára Semeráková, who's here with us.
Hello everybody.
And myself, my name is Lenka Kleger, and I think most of the time we will be in touch, you will be in touch with me, but also you will be meeting my colleagues on the next webinars. So yeah, I think we can start. If you have any questions, any comments, please write us to the chat anytime. We will get to them during the webinar. And what we will hear first, I will introduce the campaign schedule, the green up activities. Then I will pass the word to my colleague Bára, who will tell you about the carbon activities that we prepare for you in the campaign. And then you will hear about the experience from Osnovná škola Rugvica, Elementary School Rugvica from Croatia. That's the plan. We should the webinar should take about an hour. So now I will share my screen and start with the presentation. So I hope you can see it well. Can you give me a sign? Slides are changing. Yep, thanks a lot. So 2022 Spring Phenology Campaign. It started just now in February with the registration, which is open by February 18. And it will continue all the way through to June, when it will end up with a final webinar with final sharing of experience. What are the aims of the campaign? We want to provide you guidance, provide you activities and help to get to know your tree, a tree that you choose, and to learn about its change over the spring. You will also learn about the place where the tree grows. And what we really want that you spend time with your student outdoors. We also aim to enhance, to support sharing and cooperation amongst schools and among countries, and also gathering of data, which are a great source of information for schools, for you, and also for scientists. So roughly what we will be talking about and what can you expect in the campaign. You will receive from us different activities. The core of the campaign is green up observation. So the main activities will be those focused on green up. You will have 5 of them. Then you will receive 4 activities focused on the role of trees in the carbon cycle, and 1 activity that will help you to measure the height of your tree. I want to mention that all the activities are voluntary, so we will be happy if you do them, but if you for some reason can't do it, that's not a problem. Of course, it's up to you. The main focus really is on the green up, but if you have time, it's great if you try also the carbon and tree height activities. And also we will really appreciate if you let us know how it goes for you, if it goes well, or even if it doesn't go well, let us know what the problems are in case that some happen. Because the communication, which is the next point, it's very important in the campaign. We will provide you regular information through a newsletter that will contain reminders of the activities, some news in the campaign, and also information about the webinars that are planned for the campaign. We will also communicate with you through the discussion forum and invite you to let us know about your results also through this forum. For the schools that will be active in the campaign, we prepare certificates appreciating your activity. And also you can receive virtual badges that will be placed on your Globe website profile. And these badges are for collaboration for the schools that will share pictures and results on the discussion forum, and for data entry for those who enter their results into the Globe database. So now I will come to the Green Up activities. You can just now here see the overview. We have 5 of them. All the activities are available at the Phenology Campaign website, so you can download them anytime, but you will also receive them one by one in the newsletter. So let's start with activity 1 that you perhaps already saw in the first newsletter. And this activity is about choosing your tree. So in this activity, we ask you to go outside and choose a tree which is suitable for you to observe it in the spring. What means suitable? Suitable is that it's close enough so that you can come to the tree quite often, because this is what you will be doing. The tree needs to have one branch low enough so that you can reach it really from close. And it should not be shaded by a building. It should not be close to the building. It should not be water, fertilized, or in other way maintained by people, because this all influences the timing of the spring change. If there is no tree that would not be shaded, water, or fertilized, you can still observe tree that is, for example, shaded. But when you work with the data, when you share them, we need you to let us know about it, so that those who will work with the data are aware that maybe the tree is somehow influenced. In this activity, we will also ask you to find the species of the tree and also write down the GPS coordinates of the place where it grows. Maybe you have already decided which tree you will observe. In case that not, then I suggest that you choose one of the campaign species. These are the species that are here on the pictures. With such species, you can easier exchange data with other schools. Most of the schools in the campaign focus on these trees. In the first activity, we also ask you to take picture with the Grow Up application that I will talk about the app later on, and also share the first pictures of your tree on the discussion forum. So once you have done this, there will be time to start with activity 2. It is recommended to start the second activity, look at the buds, quite early, like 2 weeks before you expect that your tree will start waking up. So when the tree is still asleep, when the buds are small, they are not growing, they are not swelling. What we will ask you to do is to come to the tree, pick a branch that you will sign somehow. You can use ribbon like here on the picture, and you will need to choose 4 buds on your tree, starting from the tip of the branch. The first bud will be number 1, 2, 3, and 4. You can use a permanent marker to sign these buds, and it's important that you recognize them later on, because you will be coming to the tree regularly and you will always need to find the same branch, the same buds, so that you can follow their change. When you do this, we will ask you to come to the tree like twice a week and see if it is changing somehow. You will need to print this tree and shrub green up data sheet, as you can see here in the picture. And you can see there are already 4 columns for leaf 1, 2, and 3. And from the beginning, when the tree is still kind of asleep, you will write down dormant for every date. You will just write date and then dormant until the buds will start changing. Then you will see them growing bigger, which means they are swelling. So you will just write down swelling. And you continue doing this until you will see the first tips of a new leaves. it will be start of the next activity. What I would like to point out is that perhaps you have an atmosphere site nearby. Maybe you do measure temperature and precipitation data. So it's very good to do it together with the observation, because this provides you better idea of the conditions in which the tree starts to change. It's very important for the start of spring change, the temperature and precipitation, the rain. So if it's possible for you, it's really good to keep all these records for you, so you have a complete idea of the spring change. Well, the activity 3 follows when you will see the tips of the green leaf looking out of your bud. And at that moment, you will start measuring the length of the leaf. What is important to know that you measure your leaf without the stem. So you can see it here in the picture and also in the other pictures. This is important, otherwise your data wouldn't be correct and comparable. And again, please continue doing this twice a week until your leaves will be fully open, fully grown. They just stop growing. Please record the length of the leaf into the data sheet, so you will have them ready for later on. So the activity 3 will be mostly the core of your observation. And once you finish your observation, you will have the whole set of data, and we will ask you to enter them into the GLOBE database. There will be like 3 steps in the last activity, which is called Green Up Data. First is just to get your data from the activities 1, 2, and 3, log into your GLOBE account and enter the data. Then we will ask you to use the GLOBE visualization tool, which allows you to create a graph out of your data. You can see the graph in here. You can, first you can see it on the website. Second, you can print it out as a graph. And third, you can just download the data. So you can do it for your tree, for maybe your past observation, and you can do it also for any other school, any other GLOBE school that entered data into the database. So you can easily compare your data with your previous years or with another schools, and we will also ask you to do this. I know it might sound quite difficult. It's a lot of activities, but it's not so difficult as it seems. And we prepared for you a data guide that will just show you entering data and visualizing data step by step. It's a part of the activity 4, so you can download it together with the activity. And I believe it will help you to do it easily. We also organized in the past campaign several webinars where it is explained really into the details. So we will send you the recording so you can follow them. The last Green Up activity, activity number 5, is more like for fun, to really enjoy the time outdoors, to look at the tree with a different eyes. So we will ask you to collect green leaves and create a scale out of them, or a palette, or any other piece of art that you and your student just enjoy. And this is the end of the Green Up activities. And we have, I already mentioned that we prepare also activities to look at your tree from a little bit different angle. And one of them is an activity called How Tall is My Tree? And it's about measuring its height. It gives you 2 ideas how to do it. One is to create a handmade clinometer, such as the guy here in the picture in the corner. It's really easy. You will, in the activity, you have a worksheet that can be easily changed into the clinometer and used. It contains all the steps. It's really described in the detail how to do it. The other option is using Globe Observer app application that guides you in measuring the tree height, just step by step. You can easily download it. Here you see the first side of the application with the trees module. I think students will really enjoy this, working with a cell phone, and it's really nicely and yeah, detailedly described. Another application that you can use in the campaign, and we will remind you to do that, is called Grow Up. This application allows you to take pictures of your tree, such as these here in the slide. And if you do this regularly, whenever you come to your tree, it will automatically change into a time-lapse video. So at the end of your observation, you will see a little nice animation of your tree, how it changed from the beginning of the spring to the end of the spring. I also mentioned that we will ask you to contribute to the discussion forum. It's really nice opportunity how to let know others about your activities, how to share your results, and also how to learn from the results of other schools, how to maybe start some contact. So I really invite you to do that. You find the discussion forum on the European Phenology Campaign website. This is the menu on the website, so you will see news and discussion. You just click on it, and then you choose category 2020 spring, and you just publish your post, add pictures or anything. What you need to contribute to the discussion forum is to have a Globe account. So if you don't have such account, please contact your country coordinator, and he or she will help you to set the account or recover the password or anything. In the campaign, there is also opportunity to join a so-called collaboration group. It works so that you let us know through the registration form that you would like to cooperate, and we will find for you a partner school. The partner school can be from your country or from abroad. And the aim is to work closer with a few schools, so you can exchange the data, you can plan some kind of research together, you can plan Zoom calls or just write emails to each other. The aim is to exchange your experience, to get to know each other better, and also to practice your language skills with your students. So we really invite you to join. One last thing that I would like to point out is webinars. There are 4 webinars organized during the spring campaign. This one is the first, and then there will be 2 meetings with scientists. First one will be focused in the role of trees in lowering the urban heat island effect. So you will meet Dr. Kevin Tchaikovsky, professor from the United States, from the University of Toledo, who will tell you more about the heat island effect, what it means, how to measure, and why trees are important in cities, basically. The second one will be meeting with Dr. Elena Bautista-Sparrow, who is a very special person for the European Phenology Campaign. She's actually the founder of Phenology Observation in the Globe program, and she's still doing the phenology research. And also she does very interesting research on phenology and native knowledge, on importance of native knowledge in the phenology observation and results. So this, I think, will be 2 very interesting meetings. And the last webinar will be opportunity for you to share your experience, to share your results. It will be time to meet other students and teachers in some kind of exchange experience webinar. I would also like to invite you to join the Trees Around the Globe Student Research Campaign webinars. The campaign is like a partner campaign for us, so we are very happy to cooperate with Brian Campbell, who is here with us today, and his team. And joining these webinars of the Trees Around the Globe campaign will allow you to look at trees from different angles to learn more about measuring tree height and to learn more about the importance of trees and their role in the Earth's ecosystem. Here is the print screen of the Spring Phenology Campaign, where you will find all the information, and in case that you haven't registered, you will find there also a registration form link. And I would like to thank you very much for listening to this introduction, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have. So I don't see any question in the chat. So if you want, please write there, or you can also unmute your microphone and ask directly. Seems everything is quite clear, perhaps, or maybe a lot of information. Well, since no one is asking, then I will ask you. So I'm really curious to know about the tree that is special for you, for your country. Like if there's any national tree for your country, could you write it to the chat or tell us what tree it is? Thank you, Brian, for your nice words in the chat. Yes, we are really happy to cooperate and be part of the campaign. And I see some national trees in the chat. So for Greece, it would be an olive tree. For Czech Republic, it's actually a lime tree. Someone else would like to tell us what the national tree in your country is? No. Well, if not, maybe you can do it later. We will see it in the chat anyway. And if there are no comments and no questions at the moment, I would like to give word to my colleague Bára, who will tell you about the activities with focus on the carbon cycle.
Thank you, Lenka. So can you hear me well? Is it okay? Thank you. So once again, hello to everybody. My name is Bára and I work for the Globe Program Europe and Eurasia Coordination Office. So I'm talking to you from Prague, the same as Lenka and Dana. And now let's have a look on the other part, the other activities that Lenka already mentioned, that we have also the carbon cycle activities as a part of the Phenology Campaign. And if you want, you can download them, you can try them out with your students. They are very easy to do and they are very much fun to do. So if you try them, please also you can tell Lenka how it went. You can send her some, pictures, photos of your own creations or how you work with them. It's always nice to see that. So let me share my screen. And hopefully this will work. So we have 4 activities. The first one is called Tree Growth Game. So it's really a game. The second is Carbon Around Me, which is more about mapping. You can go outside and map what is around your location. The third one is carbon in my tree. This is a little bit about calculations. And the last one, the case of missing carbon. This is almost a detective story. And perhaps this one is slightly for advanced students, but I am sure that everyone can be a detective with help of a teacher. So let's have a look on what we are talking about if we talk about carbon cycle. So perhaps someone never heard the term carbon cycle. Perhaps you heard it just in connection with something else, but none of those cycles is the carbon cycle that we want to talk about. We actually have the carbon cycle of the carbon as the C with some other letters like CO2 or other ones that you may know from chemistry, for example. And this is the carbon cycle that we are going to talk about. This one is just like a small one. And I have also a carbon cycle right here in front of me. And perhaps, okay, I will perhaps come to it later. So now I have a question for you. Why do we talk about carbon cycle in connection to trees? Because phenology campaign is about.
It seems to me that we lost Bára. I'm not sure if the others can hear her.
Yeah, I also can't hear her.
Yeah.
We also can't hear.
Yeah.
We don't.
Okay, so let's see if she joins. Something with the connection. So we had a little bit another schedule, but until Bára will come back, I can show you a short slideshow or short video that was made from by schools in the previous campaign. It's about it's made from results of the school activities focused on carbon cycle. So we wanted to show it to you after the presentation. Perhaps you can first see the results and then you will enjoy more the explanation. So I will share my screen. So enjoy the video.
Báro, ahoj, my jsme tě ztratili, jo.
So those were some of the results from school carbon observations. I hope you enjoyed. Maybe some of you saw even pictures or results from your students. So thanks to you for sharing them. And we wanted to show it to you just to have a quick glimpse that as the activities, they are quite complex. It's quite a complex topic, but it can be approached in a quite nice and quite easy way. So, Yes, that's it. And I'm not sure if Bára is
Yeah, I was
again.
I was in contact with Bára. She has to restart her computer, so and try to join again. So probably it will take some minutes.
Okay. Wow.
So maybe we can go with the program.
Yes,
to the next.
yes. I think it's better not to wait, and you will hear about the carbon activities.
Yeah.
No worries, it just will come a little later. And then the time comes for actually the highlight of our program, and it's a presentation by Petra Sekulic and her colleague Monika, and also her students Emma and Michelle from elementary school Rugvica from Croatia. So the floor is yours. Thanks for being here with us and sharing your story from the last spring campaign.
Okay, thank you. I will now share screen. I hope that you see all the presentation. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. We are a GLOBE team from elementary school Rugvica from Croatia. And today we will present you our experience in the Spring Phenological Campaign. I am Petra and I'm a geography and Italian language teacher in my school and also a GLOBE mentor. And today with me are also my colleague Monika and my two students, Michelle and Emma, and they will also tell you something about their experience. Monika.
Hello, everyone. My name is Monika, and I work like a chemistry and biology teacher in elementary school, Rugvica. We joined the GLOBE program in 2017 and have been actively participating in the program ever since. As you can see on the attached map, Rugvica is a small town located 23 kilometers southeast of the capital city of Croatia, that is Zagreb, and 4 kilometers south of Dugo Selo. During last year's spring campaign, we observed the following types of trees that you can see in the photos. That is lime, fig, cherry, and birch.
So what was our activities? So we made the observation twice a week on the same days. It was Monday and Wednesday. In the last campaign, we cooperated with the two schools. One is a school from Ukraine. With them, we compared the birch tree, lime tree, and the cherry. And another school is a medical school from Zadar. That colleague Mariana is also with us today, and with them we compared the fig tree. We regularly exchange the data through email. We send the pictures, and as you see, this data table in Excel that we made as well. So the project that for this year, GLOBE School Review, we will do is a project with the medical school from Zadar. We will compare the fig tree. We will take the data from the spring and the autumn campaign, and we will compare the data and come to some conclusions.
In our work, we used Grow Up and Globe Observer apps to measure the height of the trees we observed. Now we will show you our work with the Grow Up applications.
So this is the Grow Up application that we made. This is a tree in front of our school, and we took the pictures regularly, and you can see our results here, like time lapse, or we can choose another tree. Also, this is our school and the school yard. So when you open it, this is a small lime tree that we also observe in our campaign.
Students like to use the apps to measure the height of trees. On this photo, you can see the students who measure the height and use applications.
First activity, as Lenka said before, was to photograph a tree without the leaves. We started our observation last year on 22 of February, and it was 16 degrees. Yesterday we started with this activity, so our students took pictures, and it was 14 degrees, so a little bit earlier, but we took the pictures and started the observations. Then the second activity, as you see on the pictures and the data, we took the dates of bud burst.
When the leaves started to grow, the students measured its length twice a week with a ruler, sometimes more often as long as it changed. Once we had all the data, it was necessary to enter in the GLOBE database. We have spotted 4 leaves, and on this and the next slide, you can see one graph showing the growth of one cherry and fig leaf.
And now is the time for our students to introduce themselves and tell you something about their experience in the this spring campaign. Emma and Michelle, are you with us?
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Emma, and I will briefly present experience of participating in the campaign. I very much like to participate in both the spring and autumn campaign. I like spending time out with my friends and teachers, and I like to see changes in our school environment. It's especially interesting to monitor how one leaf grows and what process affects its growth, like precipitation, sun, and others.
Hello everyone, my name is Michelle. In these photos you can see our activities. In the first photo, we explain to students in nature class how we observe changes in trees. In the second photo, we measure the weight of trees using the Globe Observer app. And in the third, my colleagues write data in a data entry table.
And in these photos, you can see how much we love to be outside and perform different measurements.
In the last spring campaign, we received badges and certificates for our participation, for data entry, and for cooperation. And we are extremely proud of that because it is a confirmation of our work and commitment.
That was it for us. I hope you liked our introduction. Here you can read the codes that will take you to our Facebook page, our Globe page, Globe page, excuse me, and the school page.
We publish news and events related to the implementation of our program. If there are any questions, we are here to answer them, and thank you for your attention.
So this was all. I hope that it was good and that you understand us.
Thank you for listening us.
Thanks a lot. We just clap not virtually, but also in reality. Thanks, it was a very nice presentation, very clear, and I think it's very valuable to hear about the experience from you, from schools, how you really did the activities that I was just describing in theory. So to hear about the practice, and for me, it's a big pleasure to hear from the students that they also enjoyed it. And before I open the floor to questions, I would like to give a word to Brian Campbell from NASA, who is here with us. And I think he could comment a bit on the presentation and on your tree height measuring activities. So Brian, if you can.
Thank you, Lenka. Yeah, Petra and students, thank you so much for that presentation. It was super clear. And I think one of the important things is, and what was mentioned is that, what we do for the Trees Around the Globe Student Research Campaign, as well as, what you all do for the European Phenology Campaign, is a combination of things where we want to take, multiple observations at the same place at the same time, because that allows us to understand our environment, just a little bit better. And with a combination of, the green up, green down with the tree height, it allows us to get a real world perspective of what's happening in places around the globe community, around the globe world that, many won't be able to see. And to see the enthusiasm of the students, not just presenting what they've done, but also the enthusiasm of the students when they're out in the field taking these observations. And a lot of people think, just a couple local observations don't mean much, but they actually do, because when we have this combination of local observations in specific locations that are important to people in the real world, I think that's one of the most important things, because that's your community, that's your environment, that's what you're living in. So you want to know, what the health is of your local environment, and that can be done by looking at the greenings. We can look at bud burst in the spring, green down in the fall. We can look at the tree height, how the tree height changes over time, and that helps us with lots of things. And as Bára mentioned earlier, looking at the carbon cycle and tree height and trees is super important. We're looking at the process of photosynthesis. We're looking at, how much carbon is being stored by trees or pulled in by trees from the atmosphere. So, thank you for the presentation. And, if we could only get a lot more students doing these things and showing this enthusiasm, and not just taking the data, but doing what you're doing and comparing the data and evaluating the data and analyzing the data. So thank you so much from here in the United States, in Maryland. And, we're seeing the great stuff that you're doing, in the Europe and Eurasia region for the GLOBE program. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Brian, for your nice words and putting it into the observation into the broader context. And we have time for questions from the audience. So if someone would like to ask now to the team from Elementary School Rugvica something about their observation, something about their experience, please do it now. I see in the chat, I see some nice words and congratulations, but I don't see any questions. So perhaps everything was clear. Okay, no questions at all. There will be some time for questions at the end. So if something comes to your mind, you will still have the opportunity to ask. And I see Bára is back, which is great. And I think we can give her a word again. Bára, in the meantime, we also watched the short video with the results from school. So I think now everyone knows a bit more about the carbon. So if you would like to continue with the presentation.
Thank you. I apologize for that blackout. Something happened here with the internet, and then I had to restart my computer. So I'm back, and let's I hope that it will not happen again. So let me just continue where I stopped. I hope that this is the slide that you could see. So this was my question, and okay, let's straight go to the answer. So the answer is because the plants are magic, and because the plants, they have this unique ability to transfer the energy from the sun to a chemical energy, and to actually use the CO2 from the air, and through photosynthesis to build it into the bodies. So any plant that you can see, like for example this plant and the leaves, right? They are just made of, the leaves are made of the carbon that is coming from the air. So it's something which is really magic, and that's why we are connecting trees, the leaves that we measure, and also the carbon. And exactly about this, how it works in the leaf, in the tree, how it grows. Exactly about this is the activity number 1, the trees growth game. And if we go to the next one, then we have the question, where else can we find carbon? Where else than in those leaves? So perhaps you've already seen it. So this is the carbon cycle, and you can see that we can really find carbon everywhere, even in the ocean, underground, not only in the air and in the green areas, but almost everywhere in our bodies. Obviously, we also have carbon. And the activity number 2 is actually about mapping where you can find the carbon around you. And if the carbon is mainly coming in to, for example, into the tree, or if it's mainly coming out. So you can actually map this so-called fluxes or pools, which means the streams of carbon, if they go out or in, like you can see it here, for example. And you can make your own sketch or your own map, for example, like this. So here you can see carbon uptake and the carbon release with using different colors. So this you can do with your students as well. And then we have the activity number 3, carbon in my tree. And this one simply describes how it works in the lifetime of one tree, how the CO2 balance is actually maintained. And you can imagine if you have a young tree and this tree grows a lot, it needs really a lot of carbon. So it takes so much of carbon from the atmosphere. If the tree is already a big one, adult, then it still grows, but it grows slowly. So perhaps it does not need so much of new carbon, but actually it holds all the carbon which is accumulated in previous years. And then when the tree is getting old, then the CO2 balance between the tree and the atmosphere, it's about 0, it's the same. And then when the tree starts to lose the branches and is decaying, it's a dead tree basically, as you can see on the last picture, the carbon is released to the soil and then to the air as well. So this all you can explore in the activity number 3. And if you want, there is a beautiful video on that. And that's a visualization how it actually works with carbon in the tree. So you will have a link to that video also in that activity, if you download it. And the last question is, what time of the year a tree builds in the biggest amount of carbon into the biomass? So if it is in January or in March or in summers, what time of the year is the most important for the intake of CO2 to the biomass of the tree? And you can think about it, how it works, if it's connected to the weather and if it's the same every year. And scientists, they actually already have the answer for that, because they observe for many, many years that the concentration of CO2 in the air is actually changing periodically every summer and every winter, it has it goes to the same cycle. You can see it how there is a peak, and then again it goes down, it goes up, and it goes down. So every year there is some mysterious something, I don't know what, which is actually sucking out the CO2 from the atmosphere, and that's why there is a drop in the CO2 concentration in the air, and it repeats every year the same. And this is caused by the large forests and the large green areas that we have, especially in the northern hemisphere, the vast forest that we have, and that in spring and summer, they are growing the leaves. Exactly what you can see on your tree, how it's growing. Here you can see it in the global scale, because if you accumulate so many of those leaves and trees, they actually need so much of carbon that it makes the concentration of CO2 in the air lower. But after the leaves again, go down, or they fall down, this CO2 is going back to the air. So it's really a cycle. It's not like the CO2 would be captured there forever, but it's something very important that scientists can observe. And you can learn about it in activity number 4. And where you will find all that, you will find it on the European Phenology Campaign website in the tab Download Materials. And here you have all the activities that Lenka was describing. And along with that, you have also this carbon activity. So all of them, there are 5 of them, but the carbons are only for activity 1 to 4. So you will have the carbon cycle activity. So that's all. There are some more resources that you can use. And this, I think you will also get this in the website or in this presentation that we will be sharing with you. So thank you. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask.
We are coming now to the end of the webinar, so please feel free to ask about Bára's presentation, but also if you have any questions about the previous topics to myself or to a team from Rugvica, you can ask as well at the moment.
Yes, we have first question in the chat. Is there any example of the tree and shrub worksheet? So who can take the answer?
I'm not sure how the question is meant. If you would like to see how the worksheet for the trees and shrubs for green up observation look like, or how it looks when it's filled already, if you can.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, hello. I'm Sabrina from Greece. You showed us a little while ago the, sorry, I have it here, the tree and shrub green up dataset. I haven't understood how we are going to, to fill it.
Yes, yes. Okay, now I understand. Thank you for clarification. I will show you, I will share my screen once again. And well, I hope you can see.
Yeah, this one.
Yeah, so this is the green up tree and shrub data sheet. I'll just make it a little bigger so you can see it well. Yes, so you will just print this out when you start your green up observations, and there are some fields, quite clear ones, like you will fill your school name, those who observed the tree. You will also need to find what tree you are actually observing, so what genus and species it is, how do you call it. You can also name the tree somehow for you in case that you you know, like observe 4 trees of the same species, so you can just name it anyhow so that your students can easily recognize it and write it down. Then there's this green up cycle. In our region, there will be number one. We only have one green up cycle per season. In some parts of the world, there might be more greening ups in 1 year, but it doesn't happen in our region. So this would be green up cycle 1, and yeah, this year. And now the table itself. So each line is for one observation, one date. So to the first column, you will write down the date and month when you observed the tree, when you visited your tree. And then you have a column for each of the leaves. So you will pick the leaves on the branch. This leaf number 1 will be the one that is the most on the edge, and one and so on. So the second, third, and fourth buds like going towards the trunk of the tree. And when the bud is still like sleeping, the change of it, the spring change haven't started, so it's like small, not growing, you will write down dormant. Then as the spring will progress, you will see the bud growing a bigger, like swelling. I think it's a good word for it also. And so once you see this, you will write down swelling, and you will do it for each of the leaves, because it can happen that each leaf will be in a different state. So while leaf 1 might be already swelling, the leaf 2 or the bud 2 can be still in the dormant state. So one day you will come and you will always write the state of each bud or leaf. And bud burst is the date when for the first time you will see that the bud open and you can see a little bit of the green leaf. So this date would be your bud burst date. So you'll just write bud burst for the first time. It might be that you don't come, if you probably will not be able to come every day to see the tree. So the first day when you come to your tree and you see that there are little leaves coming from the bud, you write down bud burst. And since the time of bud burst, you will every time use a ruler and just measure the length of the leaf and write down the length of the leaf in the millimeters. And this you will just, so you will end up with the column like dormant, 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 swelling, bud burst, and then I don't know, 2 millimeters, 4 millimeters, and so on. And when the leaf will stop growing, you will come repeatedly and you will not see any change of the length. That will be the end of your observations. So I hope it's
yes, I have understand now very well. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Just another question. The leaves will be from the same branch at this data set?
Yes, yes.
From the same branch, okay.
Yes, from one branch. 4 of them. If you would like to observe more trees, more branches, it's good to, find more trees and always pick one branch and one set of leaves or buds on this branch, starting from the tip of the branch.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you for the questions. And if no more questions are coming now, we have one more video for you. It's a short video made as a part of a TED education video, and it's about phenology observation and their connection to globally rising temperature, to global change. So it'll give you a bit more context to why phenology observations are important. I'll share my screen again.
Take a look outside a window. What is the season where you are? How do you know? Most likely, you looked at a tree or plant and noticed details about its leaves and assessed the qualities of sunlight streaming outside. Observing the timing of biological events in relation to changes in season and climate is called phenology. When you notice the daffodil buds are poking through the snow and think spring is on its way, you're using phenology. When you see leaves turn from green to red and watch migrating birds fly past and realize that summer is over, autumn is here, you're using phenology. Literally meaning the science of appearance, phenology comes from the Greek words pheno, to show or appear, and logos, to study. Humans have relied on phenology since the time of hunters and gatherers. We've watched changes in seasons to know when to plant and harvest food and when to track migrating animals. Scientists observe and document seasonal changes in nature and look for patterns in the timing of seasonal events. Timing of these natural signs has remained consistent until recently. Increasing global temperature is causing rhythms of nature to shift. Budburst, the day when a tree or plant's leaf or flower buds open, is occurring earlier in the year for some species. For every 1 degree Celsius rise in temperature, budburst happens 5 days earlier than usual. Differences in timing affect not only plants, but the insects and birds that depend on the plants for food. For example, oak trees in the Arnhem forest of the Netherlands now experience budburst 10 days earlier as compared to 20 years ago. New oak leaves are a favorite food of winter moth caterpillars. To survive, the caterpillars adapted to the change in the tree's timing and now hatch 15 days earlier than before. Migrating pied flycatcher birds, however, aren't doing as well. The birds prefer to feed their chicks winter moth caterpillars. The caterpillars are now hatching earlier, but the birds' chicks are not. This delay is costing the birds a food source. The pied flycatcher population has decreased by up to 90% in some areas as a result. Changes to a seemingly simple event, leaves opening, has ripple effects throughout a food web. Earlier bloom times can also have an economic impact. The famed cherry blossoms in Washington, D.C. are blooming 5 days earlier than before. Since the cherry trees are blooming earlier, the blossoms also fade earlier, frustrating thousands of tourists who visit for the Cherry Blossom Festival. High school marching bands plan all year to attend the parade and perform surrounded by a majestic white canopy. How disappointing for them to find, well, trees, rather than the famous cherry blossoms. Plants and animals react to changes in natural light and temperature. Increasing temperatures cause plants to bloom earlier than before and become out of sync with the insects and birds in a food web. So the next time you look out your window and notice what season it is, you may be fooled by those blooming trees. Think of phenology. Then think of how you can play a part to slow climate change.
This video, it has subtitles in many different languages. So in case that you would like to play it, for example, to your students, to show them what to expect and why to do the phenology observation, I think it's quite likely that you will find it also in your language. So, and we will also share you the link so that you can use it in case that you liked it. And this video, this last point of our program brings us to the very end of our webinar. And I just want to give one last minute to questions for case that someone didn't have opportunity before. Well, I don't see any questions, any comments. I see a nice comment from Brian. Thank you, Brian. And thank you everyone for being here with us today, for your presentation, for your contributions, and for your openness to cooperate with us to be part of the Phenology campaign. And I really, really look forward to hearing from you, meeting you during the spring, learning about how your trees are changing and how you are doing in the campaign. So please feel free to contact me or my colleague anytime if you have any questions, any doubts, or if you want to share anything, we are here for you and we will be happy to hear about it.